This is one of my favorite automation because it does repetitive work for me, and usually I check once a month the performance of my website. And this automation does it for me because it takes data from the Google Search Console, then it does some filtering, and eventually it checks the performance of my pages as well as for my keywords. I can also show you how the Google spreadsheet looks like. So here we can see, let's say for the pages which are declining. So I compared the last 7 days with the 7 days before, and then I can see, okay, this page lost 99 clicks, which is also on percentage 33%, which gives me the information that I have to check this article. Why am I losing visibility, or what is the reason that users are clicking on another article? And also the same for the keywords. So for instance, here we can see I have a keyword and I lost 60 clicks compared to the time period before, which is roughly 38%. And the same logic for like stable URLs, growing, and also strong growth URLs. And if we have a look into the Google Search Console so that you know what kind of work is automation doing, usually, or let's say at least once a month, I check the performance of my website, or I did it like this before. So I opened the Google Search Console, then I selected the time frame, and then I checked the queries as well as the pages, and then I checked for the difference. So in this case, we have here like a strong growth because I was able to double the amount of clicks, but there are also pages where I lost clicks. So for instance, here I lost 865 clicks, 860. And that means for me, I have to check this article, update it so that over time, if I did something right, then it will also gain again more visibility. And if we have a deeper look into the automation, then we can see that we have like a part where we trigger it. So you can also replace it with a schedule. And which is really important, we have an edit node to set the config. So for instance, here we have a dictionary with the websites, and we have our domain here. And here we have the table names of the big query table. And as you can see here, I used like 7 days, but you can also replace it with 28, or you can also take a form, submit a date, and then use this. And I also added thresholds for the keywords and the pages, because I made the experience that I have also a lot of queries with just like 1 or 2 impressions or just 1 click. And I think this is kind of noisy data. So this is the reason why I added here the opportunity to set some thresholds. And in the next node, we take this information and we create a spreadsheet with in total 8 sheets. So 4 for the pages and 4 for the keywords, categorized by declining, stable, growing, and strong growth. And then we get the data by using BigQuery. So we have here a quite long SQL query, which takes the data from the edit node as variables. Then it also adds at the bottom the thresholds. So here we have like the thresholds for the impressions, clicks, as well as for the click-through rate. And then we get a lot of data. And before we split it into the pages and keywords, we have to change the data types, because later we want to also sort the data so that we can immediately see which pages or keywords lost a lot of visibility. And here, this is really simple. We divide the data by pages and queries, and then we do a group by, because this node here returns the data on a daily basis. And we want to compare only by the page and keyword, and also based on the time period. So we are not interested in the daily data. And then we have 2 blocks. So the first is analyzing the performance of the pages, and the other one, the performance of the keywords. And as you can see, it's quite simple. We have here a filter because we only want to have pages where the status is declining, and then we get the URL, so actually the page. After that, we filter by the click change. So we want to see immediately which page lost the most clicks compared to the time period before. And finally, we save the data into our spreadsheet, and all the other nodes are basically the same, just for a different status, and that the data is saved in another spreadsheet. And there's also another part which I really like about the automation, is that it's really cheap, because I never paid anything for it. So the bulk export itself is completely free of charge. So here there are no costs associated with the Search Console export, but you have to keep in mind that you have to pay for the queries. But the good thing is that there's a free tier. And since this is an automation which you don't run on a daily basis, I would say you have to run it like once a month, or maybe also every 3 months. And you can see here, the first terabyte is free. And if you don't have a website with millions of clicks, then most likely you won't pay anything for this automation. And in case you don't have the bulk export enabled and no access to BigQuery, I also added in my GitHub repository another template which you can also download from there. So you just need the JSON file here. And here you have in total 5 nodes, but the most important are the first three. So we have here a node which gets data directly from your Google Search Console or your website, like the overall performance for the queries and pages, and then also one node for the daily data in case you want to analyze the performance even further, and also a nice to have, like to inspect the URL. So this node will return information like if the page has been indexed, when was the last time that Google crawled it, and even more. I will put the link for the GitHub repository into the description, and in case you have any questions, feel free to ask me, and we will see each other in the next video.